Hello everyone, this is Andrew at Crown Academy of English. Today we are doing a lesson about how to improve your English vocabulary. So it is some general advice for you. The best advice I can give you to start is read more in English. Okay, so reading is an excellent way to improve your vocabulary. And the reasons are, first of all, it is fun and interesting to read a story or to read a news article. Okay, so if something is fun, then we do not realize that we are learning. Okay, we are reading because we want to know the story. So there is a real reason to learn the new words. There is a reason to read because we want to know the story. And of course, when we are reading, we learn lots of different types of words. So for example, verbs, nouns, adjectives, and also different styles, informal English and formal English. So it's very varied. And also, you will see the same word several times in different sentences. So in different contexts. And this repetition helps us to learn quickly. Okay, so if we see the word computer several times in different contexts, then we learn the word without even looking in the dictionary. Okay? Now, what to read? What do we read to improve our English? Well, I strongly recommend simplified English books. Okay? Now, simplified books are also called graded readers or sometimes easy readers. So they are books which contain shorter sentences, slightly simpler grammar, and more basic vocabulary than books for native speakers. And there are different levels. Okay, there are different levels of difficulty for all levels of English, starting from beginner, elementary, and going all the way up to advanced. So here is an extract. Here is an example. The girl was called Emma Morley. The boy's name was Dexter. The boy's name was Dexter Mayhew. They were lying on the narrow bed in Emma's room in a shared flat. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. The two young people didn't know each other very well, but certainly this was a night for thinking about the future. That book is from One Day by David Nichols. So you can see the sentences are shorter, the vocabulary is quite basic, and the grammar is simplified. So it is an excellent way to learn English, and more importantly, to learn new words. There are several levels, but I recommend at least the intermediate level. Okay? Do not waste time with the basic level. The beginner, elementary, it is too basic and the English is not natural. So to look for these books, the names of the publishers are Cambridge, Macmillan, and Penguin. And some example authors are David Nichols, Richard McAndrew, and Penny Hancock. And there are other publishers and authors. Okay, so just do a search on Google for graded readers or easy readers. Okay. Also, the books sometimes have an audio version, so a CD, which is good so that you can hear the pronunciation. Teen fiction and young adult books. So teen fiction books are for native speakers between the age of 10 and 15. So it's important it's for native speakers, but for young native speakers. And young adult, YA, books are for native speakers between the age of 16 and 25, so slightly older. So here is an example. It was almost December, and Jonas was beginning to be frightened. No, wrong word, Jonas thought. Frightened meant that deep, sickening feeling of something terrible about to happen. Frightened was the way he had felt a year ago, when an unidentified aircraft had flown over the community twice. The Giver by Lewis Lowry, publisher HarperCollins. So these are excellent books. Again, they are more simple than books for adult native speakers. Okay, so they have slightly shorter sentences. But the stories are very good. Okay, some of these books have won prizes. So I recommend both of these, young adults and teen fiction, even if you are an adult. Example authors: Lewis Lowry, Susan Collins, John Green, and others. And publishers: HarperCollins, Macmillan, and Penguin. Newspapers. I recommend the following British newspapers: Times, Observer, Independent, Daily Telegraph, and the Financial Times if you're interested in business. Okay. All of these are very good quality British English newspapers. But be careful, the level is advanced. Okay, so it is authentic, real-life English, but the vocabulary is advanced and the style of writing is advanced as well. I do not recommend the tabloids. So the tabloid newspapers are The Sun, The Star, and The Mirror, and there are others. They are very, very informal, and the English is not always very good, and the stories as well, the news articles are not particularly interesting or serious. Okay, they have quite a bad reputation. And American newspapers, they have the International Herald Tribune, New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal for business. Advice for you: if in your local town, if there are some English pubs and maybe some large international hotels, ask them to give you their old newspapers and magazines. Okay, you might be able to get them for free. Magazines are an excellent way to learn vocabulary because the photographs and more informal style, they are much easier to understand than newspapers. And choose a subject that interests you. There are hundreds and hundreds of magazines on all subjects. So if you are reading something that you are interested in, then it will be more fun, more interesting. So you will be more motivated to learn the vocabulary. Example: Top Gear is about cars. 442 is about football or soccer. National Geographic is current affairs or news. And the famous Time magazine is also current affairs. And Vogue, which is a fashion magazine. Vogue has several versions. There is an American version and also a British version. Okay. Play games. There are lots and lots of word games that you can play either in real life, online, or even on your mobile phone. And many of them are free. Okay, there are lots of free games. And here are some examples. Boggle. This is quite a new game, and players have 3 minutes to find words in this grid. Okay, it's a very good game to play, and there is a real life version. You can also play it online, and I think there is also a mobile phone version. Crosswords. So crosswords, you find words by solving clues. So you read the clues, you try to solve them, and then you write the words on the crossword, in the crossword. Okay? And games like Scrabble, you know, a very classic game, classical. Players place the letters on the board to form words. Okay? There is a more modern version of Scrabble called, I can't remember it, Words with Friends, I think it's called. I think it's called Words with Friends. And that is available on Facebook, online, and also on mobile phones. It is very similar to Scrabble, but it is more modern. So Words with Friends, I think it is. But just search on Google for word games and you'll see many games. And they're excellent. It's an excellent way to learn vocabulary. You can also follow me on Twitter, of course. On Twitter, I teach a new word or expression every day. Here is an example from a few days ago. So I give the explanation, the definition, and then I give an example. And I do this every day. So here is my account details. Here you can find me at this address. And this is my account name. Okay, so at the moment I have over 2,000 people who follow me on Twitter, and it's growing every day. Very important, you must have a good dictionary. Okay, and a good dictionary will have the type of word, so either a noun, verb, adjective, or adverb. It will also have the phonetic transcript, so the IPA transcript, to help you with the pronunciation. And there will also be example sentences. That is very important. If there are not example sentences, it is not a good dictionary. And it will give you all of the meanings in order of importance. Oops, I've put example sentences twice. Sorry, so I've already said that. And there is, there should be a CD version or online services if it is a good dictionary. And illustrations, very important, because learners, students, are very visual, and we learn quicker, more quickly, if there are photographs and pictures. Good dictionaries: Oxford Advanced Learners, Cambridge Advanced Learners, British English, and for American English there is the Merriam-Webster's Advanced Learners. Now, once you have your good dictionary, you must learn and understand how to use it. So in your dictionary, at the beginning of the dictionary, there will be like a guide or an explanation like this. This is only an example, and it will explain all the different parts and sections and paragraphs and how to use them. So it's very boring, it's not interesting, but it is important. You must read and understand the instructions on how to use your dictionary. It will help you a lot to help you learn your vocabulary. Okay. And also, can you see these abbreviations? There's a little N here, and there are abbreviations everywhere. And it is important that you look for the explanation of the abbreviations and you understand them. For example, VTR, that means it is a transitive verb. And so you have to understand what is a transitive verb. Well, a transitive verb is a verb which has a direct object. Okay? So if you understand that, for example, when you learn a verb and you see and understand it is a transitive verb, then immediately you know how to use that verb. Okay? So read the instructions and read and understand the abbreviations. A thesaurus. Use a thesaurus. It is a book or a site, an internet site, that lists words with similar meanings. They are called synonyms, and also words with opposite meanings, antonyms. Here is an example at thesaurus.com. We are looking for the word tired. And here are the synonyms for tired, so words with similar meaning. And here are the antonyms, words with opposite meanings. So by using a thesaurus, you expand your vocabulary. You learn more words which are related to the word you are looking for. So we have a free online version at thesaurus.com, and the book version, the best one, is Roget's 21st Century Thesaurus. So use a thesaurus. Use a journal. Use a journal to write down the new words that you want to learn. So for every new word or expression, you should write down the meaning and translation into your own language, the pronunciation, so the IPA, maybe with some example words, the type of word, is it a verb, noun, adjective, adverb. Very important is the context and style. Is it a legal word, academic? And very, very important, if it is informal or formal, then you must note it. For example, in British English, one meaning of the word cheers is thank you. So if I say cheers to someone, it means thank you. But it is very informal. So you must note that cheers is informal, because if you don't, then you might go to a job interview and you might say cheers to the director at the end of the interview, which would be a disaster. Okay, so the meaning is not enough. The meaning is important, but you must also give the context to the meaning and to the use. Synonyms and antonyms, and very important, example sentences. And these are sentences that you write. Okay, you write them. You think of them and you write them. That makes you active. That forces you to think and to concentrate. Okay, so you make up the sentences, different sentences with the same word. Watch English television and films. Find DVDs or a television service which has audio and subtitles in English, and also audio or subtitles in your native language. So both of them, both languages. And then watch the film in your native language without any subtitles. Then watch the film with English audio and subtitles. And this is when you write down the new words that you think are important, that you want to learn. But don't do too many. No more than 12 words per hour. So approximately one word every 5 minutes. And then, after the film, look at the meaning of each of these words in the dictionary. And very important, select only the most important and common words to add to your journal. So, for example, if one of the new words is computer, then computer is, and you have an intermediate level. Well, computer is a very common word. It is very useful. So you should add that to your journal. But if one of the new words in the film is molecule, well, molecule is not very common. It is a science word and quite advanced. So if you only have an intermediate level, then do not add molecule to your journal. Okay? And then at the end, watch and listen again to these new words in the film, and you can then listen to the pronunciation and you will see the context. Okay? Learn English prefixes and suffixes. Well, what is a prefix? It is a group of letters at the beginning of a word, and they indicate part of the meaning of the whole word. Example, the letters D-I-S, dis, at the beginning of a word, often means not. Suffixes are a group of letters at the end of a word, and they also indicate the meaning of the word. Example, at the end of the word, less. This means without. If you know and learn the most common prefixes and suffixes, then you will be able to deduce the meaning of new words. You will be able to understand or guess the meaning of new words. For example, I am sure everybody knows the word like. I have a friend. I like him. Okay? So if you know that the prefix dis means not, then immediately you know what this means, don't you? We now know that I dislike him means I do not like him. So if you learn dis equals not, then if you see this word, you don't even have to look in the dictionary. There's no need to look in the dictionary. You know that this means I do not like him. Okay? So by learning prefixes and suffixes, so by learning maybe 10 new prefixes and suffixes, suddenly your vocabulary increases by a lot. I have some more detailed videos about this. I explain prefixes and suffixes in much more detail in these videos. And there is a link to these videos in the description of this video and also at the end of the video. So there we are, that's the end. If you'd like to subscribe, click here. And here are some links to other videos which you might be interested in. So here are some vocabulary. Here are some listening exercises which contain also new vocabulary. Here is a vocabulary lesson, and here is grammar. Okay, thank you for watching. My name is Andrew at Crown Academy of English, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.